Rowan pants as the last of the small fry explodes against his fist. Clear liquid, becoming very thin, nearly drying instantly against the hot suit of armor. What the... Is this some kind of... It's not an acid. Base? What's a liquid base? Okay. Mr. F, are you doing okay? Mr. Faldum didn't have a whole lot of time to answer, as he was continuing to duck under the fist of the one-armed purple tiger. Oh, I'll be fine. Hey! Have you tried out the weapons yet? Weapons? You didn't tell me there were weapons. Just call out the name of the weapon, and hold your hand out. Rowan sighed, wishing that there had been more time to explain everything that was happening before doing as he was told. Alright, here goes. Sword! The belt buckle of his new suit of armor glowed a bright red, the light transferring over to his hand before expanding and forming a sword. Oh, well, that's handy. Alright. Let's see if I can mimic that move he did earlier. Rowan got down into a crouched position, his kicking foot behind him, and his sword ready to slash. Here I come, Mr. F! And with a somewhat awkward leaping motion, Rowan entered the air, going a bit higher than Mr. Faldum had, but still a neat-looking maneuver. Rowan's shoulder collided with the beast before his sword struck it in the stomach. It roared out in pain and started walking backwards, clutching the gooey red liquid that was spewing out of it. Oh, that's gross, Mr. F. And highly explosive. Let's step back. Mr. Faldum's clawed gauntlet grabbed Rowan by the shoulder as he jumped back, taking Rowan with him as an explosion occurred around the tiger. Is that it? Oh, hardly. That's first form. First form? How many are there? Typically 2. Here. Mr. F held the sword out in front of him and tilted his head down a little bit. You felt the energy coming out of your belt buckle, right? Just try to focus that into your sword. Rowan sighed, but listened. A much more mechanical beast emerging from the smoke cloud of the explosion. Alright. Dragon Knight! Full charge! Mr. Faldum started running, purple and gold energy coming off of him and the sword. Rowan did his best to mimic Mr. Faldum, the lion skin cape of his armor starting to flutter as he got the hang of it. The energy coming out of him was hot, and he was honestly surprised that he could continue to hold on to the sword after filling it. The the buckle of his belt seemed to speak for him. Heracles! Head sever! Frowen jumped up high, doing a lateral slash at the neck of that had now become metallic on the tiger. The tiger did its best to claw him in the stomach as the two powered-up attacks collided. Frowen yelled out in pain, but he still went through and landed behind the creature with Mr. F. With another roar, the creature fell and exploded. From the explosion, 2 cards flew out. Mr. F held out his hand and deftly catched both of them in between 2 fingers. "And that is how it's done," he said, wiping the cards off against the breastplate of his armor. "Alright, kid. I don't think you're able to use these quite yet, but I think you've earned holding on to them." Mr. F held out the 2 cards, one a metallic gray, and the other the purple that the tiger's fur was. What was that thing? What was all of those things? And who sent them? I can't exactly answer all of those questions right now. It is getting rather late, and your mother would kill both of us if she finds out about this. But, well, a good name. I think Small Fry is a good name for those tiny things. And as for the big thing, purple card says Raja, and knowing the people who sent it, that is likely very close to what they called it, if not the exact thing. "What's wrong with keeping things consistent, old man?" came a feminine voice, though muffled and altered. Suddenly, a stream of purple flames started to fall from the sky. Mr. Elf held his arm opposite of the one that carried his sword out. "Shield!" A scaled shield, looking like it was made of dragon scales, opened up and appeared in front of him. A slot opened, and a suction force began, pulling in the fire. "Huh! I see you kept some tricks from us," a masculine voice said, suddenly landing in front of Mr. F and Frowen. Come on. You didn't think we were going to keep out of this, did you?" The man's voice said darkly. He stood up, wearing what looked like a slimmed down version of knight armor, like Mr. F's, only it wasn't themed after a dragon. It was themed after a king. The armor plating a strong gold, the cape a bright, vibrant red, and the visor being 2 eye slots that also glowed red under a golden crown adorned with multicolored jewels. An impressively large, but still one-handed sword in his right hand, the man pointed it at Mr. F. "I know you didn't forget about us, Did ya, old man? Mr. F sighed, seeming disappointed as he lifted the shield towards this new armored figure. Of course not, though I was hoping you would have changed your mind by now. You know I'm a lot more stubborn than that. Indeed. Well, I guess if it's come to this, I'll have to do it quickly. Come on, like you could ever do anything quickly. You've always been slow, old man. Maybe, but you're still slower. The slot in Mr. F's shield opened back up, and the purple flame spewed back out, now a golden color, slamming into the new figure. Frowen looked back and forth between Mr. F and this new armored figure, dumbfounded. Who? It sounds like you guys know each other? It's a long story. I'll explain tomorrow. But get out of here. What? I'm not leaving you alone. There's two of them. I'm not making this a debate, Frowen. You need to get out. No way. I guess none of your students are very good at listening, huh, old man? The feminine voice returned. She floated overhead, armor looking more like cloth robes, purple and silver swirling around her. I'd say it's time that we fixed that, don't you? Yeah, I think this will be right up my alley. A staff formed in the woman's hands, and she swirled it around. Mr. F, what's she doing? You really don't want to know. Get behind me. Oh, come on. Let's see if he knows how to use that shield. Not on your life. What shield? Frowen asked, though a little too late, as more purple flames spewed out and hit Mr. F's shield. The man with the kingly armor ran past and started to strike at Frowen, who raised his blade just barely in time, blocking the strike with a metallic clang. Whoa! Frowen struggled, groaning at the force behind the man's swing. Okay, that's not fun. He grit his teeth, then focused the energy again, and flames spewed out from the blade. The armored man let out a cry of pain and backed off. Ugh, alright. Not as dumb as he looks. Let's see how long that lasts. Metal ringed out again as he swung once again at Frowen, and Frowen once again blocked. I won't go down that easy. You really won't. You know what? I'm happy for it. I say Mr. F picked good when he got you. Now let's see if it lasts. Frowen tried to look behind him, seeing Mr. F swinging his sword back and forth. swirling fire up at the woman in the air. In one swift motion, the fire sprung forth, slamming in the shape of a dragon's head into the woman and knocking her back. No! The man that had come with her shouted. All right, kid, deal with you later. The sword suddenly shone black, and Froen was sent flying by the heft behind the attack that the man used against him. The man in armor ran towards the woman, picking her up off the ground. We have more where the tiger came from. You won't last. I don't need to, Mr. F said calmly. But let's see just how long you do. The two figures ran off. Alright, Froen. It was a bit more than I was hoping to put you through today, but you handled it admirably. I think it's best that you go home now, and I will do my best to explain more tomorrow, after your ceremony. After? Yes, sir. Just, be careful. Same to you, young friend. I have a lot to think about. Alright, well, I guess see you then. And I will see you. Froen Mr. F tapped the wrist device that all of Froen's people had, and it made a small bleeping sound as it communicated with the device in his chest, and the armor disappeared. Froen did his best to copy the motion, and was relieved when the armor fell away from him. I really hope I won't get caught by Mom, he said, mostly to himself, as he headed home. Luckily, his mother seemed to already be in her room by the time he got home, so he didn't have to do any explaining. But it was still eerie returning home like this. Froen didn't much care for it. He stalked up the stairs appearing for him, as if on cue once more. I just hope tomorrow is not so complicated, he said with a heavy sigh, falling into the pillow. Very glad once more to be safely home, and that his bed forms without him needing to say anything. I'm so tired. With a yawn, Froen closed his eyes and drifted off, wondering if, when he woke up, the world would ever be the same.